If there is a galactic-sized elephant in the presidential candidate room for 2016, it's the same one that has been lumbering inside the Beltway since George Washington demanded a spit shine for his nightgown shoes. The wasting and figurative torching of your tax dollars as they are wasted by the trillions. And the call that always follows neatly behind: more taxes will solve everything. The group Americans for Tax Reform demanded and got a pledge from multiple lawmakers they would never push for new taxes. It would appear that pledge is crumbling, thanks to attacks from the tax-happy left and those unwilling to make some really hard calls. The man who got that pledge joins us here on the Hard Line, Grover Norquist. Grover, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and I have to start out immediately here with some gloating from the left and get your reaction, because they're just having a grand time noting that almost 3/4 of Republican lawmakers who signed your pledge broke the promise not to raise taxes. What's your response to those who say that, Grover, you failed?
What are they pointing to?
They are pointing to this is according to Hutchinson News, 6 of the state of Kansas's 53 lawmakers who signed your
in
pledge.
Kansas. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, but as we all know, there are 57 states, and Kansas is only one of them. The pledge actually is doing yeoman service, has stopped tax increases in Florida. Actually, we're going to get almost a $500 million tax cut there. In Kansas, there was a tax increase put forward. I think it's unfortunate, but Wagle, who was the head of the Senate, instead of fighting to reduce spending, decided to become an advocate for higher taxes. So Kansas, which had cut taxes over the last 4 years, the governor of Kansas there, Brownback, has been a real hero. He does have some problems with the legislature that's been not willing to rein in spending. They should have a moratorium on new hires while they get their arms around a 50-year history of overspending that they're trying to counteract. But yes, in Kansas, there was a tax increase. But the good news is that in most states where people have taken the pledge, we're holding the line, and we've done a very good job of cutting taxes in many of the red states. Texas just dropped taxes $3.8 billion over the next 2 years. So unfortunate backsliding on Kansas. We need to get back to reining in spending there.
But what about, then there's Representative Paul Ryan, these are the allies in the House GOP leadership, talking about that they will have to raise taxes on small businesses. Now, there's a thinking process here that this would also violate the pledge. And again, I know that there's the devil's in the details here, so that's why I want you to explain it.
Absolutely. There is a left-wing character who runs something called Obamatrade.com, pretending to be a conservative. He's been exposed by the Free Beacon as a left-wing activist from way back, and he's been running around saying that inside the effort to get free trade, the TAA legislation, Trade Adjustment Assistance, that there are tax increases in it. The good news is that's not true. In point of fact, what there is they increase a fine if you don't file certain paperwork, 1099s, but it's not an increase in taxes. And the whole point of the TAA bill is to get to the tariff bill, which is a massive collection of tax increases. Tariffs are simply taxes at the border. So you have a left-wing political activist trying to trick Republicans and conservatives into voting against the drive for free trade by saying there's a tax increase in there. Good news is there isn't. The Republican leadership in the House and Senate wouldn't put it on the floor if there was. And it was good to expose this gentleman who is pretending to be a conservative, who opposed Obama's administration as a liberal activist that the labor unions are pushing forward, trying to interfere with the drive for free trade. Interestingly, Obama's for this free trade. He hasn't been in the past. But every once in a while, even a stop clock gets something right. When Obama, by mistake, does the right thing, let's take it and move on.
With about a minute to go here, Grover, are you then confident that the pledge you asked and the Republicans who signed it, are you confident that they will stick with you, that no matter what happens as we go through the 2016 election cycle, that they are willing to stand by it and they will not renege on those promises?
Oh, yeah. No, they'll stand by the pledge because the pledge is to the American people. It's not to me. I just report on whether there's a threat to it or whether somebody keeps it or breaks it. Good news is the people who take the pledge have made that commitment to the American people, to the citizens of their state. It rarely gets broken. Kansas is a disappointment. But in most states and here in Washington, D.C. with the Congress, people are holding the line. we haven't allowed a tax increase to be enacted since the Republicans got control back of Congress.
Grover, I only got about 20 seconds left. Don't you wish that we could wipe out the waste in 1 second here? But that's all we talk about is wasted money here, and no one ever seems to talk about how to cut into this wasted tax dollar.
We've got to restrain spending. The way to keep taxes down is to stop spending so much of other people's money.
And that probably is the best way to put it, because listen up, America, it's your money that's being spent, it's your money that's being wasted, and it's your money that's being flushed every single day by lawmakers. Reminder, everybody, check out Americans for Tax Reform at www.atr.org and find out more about the pledge and those who are trying to make sure that your money is spent wisely. Grover Norquist, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
All right, stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes in news continues.